Hey, Amanda Mccready, welcome to the Tokyo Living Podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So we've got you on today to talk about your roles as the founder of the Expat Network. Perhaps if you could just give the listeners a bit of a history about yourself and what brought you out to Japan.
Sure. Well, we are on year 10 now in Asia. We were actually supposed to come at right after 3/11. We were getting our contract the morning of 3/11. The company then ripped it up and rewrote it and sent us to Singapore. So
Wow.
my journey to Japan was delayed by a couple of years. We started in Singapore, moved here in 2013, and we lived here for 4 years, and then actually moved back to Singapore for a year, and then moved back to Tokyo. We've been here 3 years on this stint. So before that, we are from the East Coast. I grew up, well, kind of in the Midwest and then in Maryland. My husband's from Boston, but my kids were born in Baltimore and then raised in Atlanta before we moved overseas. So,
Okay.
We've kind of moved around and been all over. I started Tokyo Expat Network when I moved here in October. Well, I moved here in June, and then by October 2013, I attended at the Tokyo American Club a program called Tokyo Here and Now, which is a great orientation program. And I stood up on the last day and I said, this has been so helpful. What happens tomorrow when I don't have 60 people in the room and I have a question?
Yeah.
Am I back to just asking the 3 people at my bus stop and the 1 person in my building that I know, or what do you recommend? There was kind of crickets in the room. And I said, well, I have an idea, but I need all of your help. So my idea, I basically just stole from Singapore. I had a dear friend who ran a group called Singapore Expat Wives. And that group was instrumental to my family's success in Singapore. My husband, by and large, was living here in Japan, and the kids and I were down in Singapore.
Right.
And it was just great to have a huge network. There were like 18,000 people. You could post a question and you'd get an answer in seconds. So instead of freaking out and wasting time and spinning your wheels, you knew exactly what to do and how to get it done because someone had been in your shoes before you. So the idea with Tokyo Expat Network was to do something quite similar, but to expand it. I have several friends who are trailing spouses who are male. And I felt that it wasn't fair to just, cater to women. And to be completely honest, I'm an expat. We are here on a company contract. We had a lot of things done for us. And my first couple of years were very, very eye-opening when it came to running the group, because I realized that there are so many people that come here on a whim or come here with a dream and don't have a lot of resources and don't have any help, and they make it happen. And that makes me extremely journey and help. That makes it even better. So I know from time to time there are posts making fun of the word expat as part of our name. But I truly feel like if you fall back on the definition, an expat is someone living outside their home country.
Yeah.
It really applies to every foreigner. So
Yeah.
that was much longer than you probably expected.
No, that was perfect. And that sort of obviously leads into the next question about how and why you decided to set that up. How then you had this idea, you wanted to replicate what you'd seen done in Singapore. How did you go about doing that, and how long did it sort of take to get set up?
Well, I asked my friend, should I do it? What do you recommend? And she said, you know what, you need rules. Because she's like, otherwise it's a free for all. And I said, you know what, we're in Japan. I think everyone's used to rules. And so we tweaked the rules from what we had in Singapore. And over the years, they've stayed pretty steady. We have had to tweak a couple things over time. Early on, Facebook didn't have a whole lot of resources for group admins. So it was very manual. Someone would ask to join the group. I would click on their profile, try to see if it looked like they lived in Japan. If I couldn't tell, I would send them a private message, which they probably wouldn't see. I spent hours a day doing it. Over time, Facebook has come to our rescue and added all sorts of different resources for admins. There's now, we can ask 3 questions. People can see the rules or a brief version of the rules before they join, so they kind of understand the purpose behind the group. And we can get information we need to easily and quickly go through and add people. We grew quite slowly at the start. I think the first year we maybe ended up with like 1,500 members. I remember when we moved to Singapore about 4 years in, we were at 7,000 members. And the year I was away, we doubled in size. When I came back, we were at 14,000 members. So that was in 2018. And we've just kind of grown from there. We definitely, I'm not that focused on growth. People will join the group, and then when they leave Japan, most of the time they leave the group because it's not that relevant to them anymore, and they don't want it in their newsfeed. And that's kind of what we hope. We really want members who are active, who want to help answer questions or post questions when they have something that might be relevant to the community.
Yeah. And you said that there's inbuilt tools within Facebook now to help you. Do they also provide demographics on location and things like that make it easier to know if someone's living in Tokyo?
Yes and no. A lot of people don't update where they live, so
that's true.
it's misleading.
Yeah.
And again, we're kind of just going on how people answer the question. So they could lie, and sometimes they do. One of the things that we're kind of adamant about is we want to make sure that the group is for people that live here or that have firm plans to move. And oftentimes we get requests or people, fib a little to get in the group, and then their first question is, how do you get hired, and how do you get a visa, and how do you do all these things? And I truly believe that there are many other places where you can get that information. And our group is for people who have figured that out. Sure. Oftentimes we do have visa questions, but they're more about changing your visa or renewing your visa. And if we go by the rules, those aren't even allowed, but we do, we always pledge kindness. So I can tell if someone's kind of at their wit's end and they just need a little help or support or, information from other people who have been in their shoes before. So we do tend to let those through as long as they're, people that actually live here and are trying to stay.
Sure. And have you tried transferring the group over to other platforms, whether it be other social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram, or even just on a website format? Or have you just found that Facebook is sort of the perfect platform to run the site, and that's just...
Facebook is far from perfect,
no,
but it is very functional. It has grown. It has improved. Many years ago, I actually did invest in a website and spent quite a bit of time putting our rules up there, explaining what we were all about. I even went so far as to create a few lists of, so once a month, our group's about questions. It's about sharing events, which has been very hard during COVID. And it's about, recommendations and whatnot. So we really don't allow ads. We don't allow, people to post business ads or whatever, most of the month. Once a month, we have a thing called Show It Off Weekend. And it actually starts today at noon. And it will run for 72 hours. It used to be 48, and we made it longer because there are so many posts. We just needed more time to get them through. So Show It Off Weekend, we relax our rules and we let people post business ads. We also encourage members who, if they are looking for a job, it's the only time they could post a resume and ask if, people, know anybody that could hire them. It's for bloggers and vloggers and Instagrammers and people that, maybe you just finished a huge project at work or at school and you're so proud and you just want to share it. Any of those things are allowed. It's really for people to connect. So maybe you just moved here and you're really into skateboarding and you don't know where to go and you want to see if there's other skateboarders out there and find out all their tips and tricks. Now, Show It Off Weekend is the perfect time to post. There's a lot of people who are amateur photographers who just want to share their photos. And that's not what our group is out about most of the time. But if you want to do that on Show It Off Weekend, it's completely fair game. So what I did with the website when I first started was I screenshotted as many of the ads. I tried to get them all, but I'm sure I forgot a few times. And I listed on a monthly basis each of the ads, how to contact them, kind of tried to categorize them. Over time, it got to be quite a big task, quite very time consuming. And in time, I gave up. That website's still out there somewhere. I haven't updated it for a while. I am still paying for it, and I have plans to really improve it in the future.
Okay.
So it's something good is coming.
Yeah. Oh, cool. You've sort of gone into a little bit there with the rules of the group. What are some of the other rules that, or the main ones that you sort of started off with, and how have you sort of changed those rules and maybe updated them over time?
Well, one of the things that I'm proud of, because I know it has helped several members, is that we do allow job posts, but they are also the bane of my existence. Sometimes when people post jobs, maybe the rate isn't great, or maybe something's wrong with it. But when you find a job on LinkedIn or on another big site, you can't give feedback. If nobody applies, the person who's posted the job gets the picture, and they're like, wow, I'm either barking up the wrong tree or I have to pay more money. And they figure it out and they adjust their ad. When you post in a Facebook group, people want to tell you what they think. And they aren't often kind about it. And so we've tried implementing rules. So we do review all of the job posts beforehand. We ask people to private message an admin to make sure that there's enough information. It doesn't have to list the rate, but we do want, a general outline of what's required and then how to apply. If it's with a company and they want to put their website, that's fine. Again, it's free, but I know many people from our group have found dream jobs, or who, have found jobs to pay the bills, or whatever it is. And I want to continue to provide that service. But when the person who's posted gets attacked and it becomes this really negative thing, I don't like it when I don't like that part of it. So we've tried to create rules to make it, more positive. Our group is intended, to be a positive place where people can find, other helpful people, kind people, and not be torn down. One of the other rules is about comment or reaching out to people, through private message. And basically that is not allowed. I want to make sure that, every woman or man on the site doesn't feel that just because they've commented or posted that they're going to have 100 private messages asking for dates or asking for whatever. Ten's not a dating site. And, I feel bad when I do get messages from women like, this person won't stop contacting me, or this person reached out and it was right after my post on 10. I know it was from your group. We're both in the group. We want to have a community. We want to meet if, it's a mutual thing. We want to create friendships. We want all of those good things, but we don't want people to, feel attacked or targeted, or, be contacted when they're really not interested in something like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other rules, but, it all comes to, and then, so some of the things that aren't allowed are, we aren't a place for finding animals' homes.
Okay.
There are many groups that do that.
Yep.
You can post on Show It Off Weekend, so that's kind of our thing. If you have a charity request, we have a special post where you can post in the comments about your charity. But again, that is for Show It Off Weekend. Mm-hmm. Several times charities have events, and you can post your charity event anytime. Where we really aren't a place for legal or visa advice. Some of those posts do get through sometimes, but I hope people understand that most of the people commenting are not experts. And so you're better off calling immigration. You're better off calling actual people that are in the know than, trusting advice from 10 when it comes to things like that. And people also, we don't allow defamatory business posts. Sometimes you have a really bad experience somewhere. And to be honest, I don't know legally what kind of trouble I could get into, but
Yeah.
I'm not about, well, first of all, our group, we want it to be a positive place. And second of all, I don't want to take that, be responsible, be liable for someone's post that, is about a business in a negative way. I'd, really just rather not be in that sort of business. It is, of course, okay if someone says, hey, I'm looking for a hairdresser and you had a horrible experience with a hairdresser. Well, go and say, don't go here. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
So there are ways to do it. Sometimes people are unhappy that they can't make a post about it. I'm like, yeah, but you can comment.
Yeah.
Even business owners, you can't post about your business any day of the week. You have to wait for show it off weekend. But if someone asks a question and your business can serve that person, post in the comments.
Yeah.
Say, this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
This is my website. Contact me. So it's sometimes people don't understand. They're like, oh, they can't promote their business. I was like, well, they're not. They're answering a question. They didn't make a post about their business. They're just, a comment. So,
yeah. I think you've sort of segued nicely into the challenges of running the site, and I think you've already sort of alluded to quite a few of those there. But I mean, how do you go about managing all that traffic that's coming through and curating it and making sure that that people stay within the rules? And I think you mentioned before you get started that you've got people helping you out. How do you sort of work together as a team, and how do you sort of combat those challenges?
So I added 2 wonderful admins a couple years ago, and to be honest, we've only met one time. We have
Really?
a little chat group in Messenger where if there's a question or a post that is maybe in a gray area, we discuss it. We kind of work together on those difficult things. There's a lot of rules. There's probably way too many rules, but it really does help to just fall back on the rules to see, if a post should go through, or so in really rare cases, sometimes we'll reach out to the poster and say, listen, your post is fine, but it's, can you just leave this part out or whatever? Because sometimes, again, like maybe it's a little ranty or a little negative towards the business. It's like, just ask your question. You'll still get the information without saying something bad about this business. And so we kind of try to redirect and coach the people that post. Hopefully they understand why we do that. The Facebook has also added some tools for admins. So there's like keyword alerts that we can use. There are ways for members to report posts. Sometimes people are offended or whatever, and so they can alert the admins and we can go in and research and read. It's much better than the old way where I just used to spend all day on my phone, like reading through posts. It's grown to be too big, for any one person to do that. So I appreciate the help of the moderators, and I'm sure we'll add more over time. It just, I think you have to find people that have the same perspective and, treating others with kindness and being able to, sometimes when you read something and you're offended or whatever, you have that knee-jerk reaction to say something mean right back. And as an admin, I can't do that. And that's the beauty of Facebook, is it's on my phone. I can put it down. I can take it, have a deep breath. And I can think about my response before I write it. And that's basically the girls that admin have this kind of the same philosophy. They're like, okay, this is wrong and I need to reply, but let me think about it first and choose my words, because we can all be adults here. And I feel like as admins, we have to be the leaders among the community. We have to show people how we expect them to behave. Sometimes I feel like I'm everybody's mom, and I know I'm not perfect. But I do my best and, try to take, one situation at a time, and hopefully the community is better for it.
Yeah. You mentioned there that the site has gotten too big to sort of go through post by post, but how big has it got? You sort of mentioned the number of members that you had when you returned from Singapore. What's that membership at now, and how many posts do you typically have on a weekly or daily or monthly basis?
Ooh, so earlier this year, we surpassed 30,000 members,
Wow.
which I know is just scratching the surface when it comes to, expats and foreigners living in Japan. There's millions of us, but it's definitely grown. We still actually approve each and every post that
Right.
goes out. But as far as following up on it,
Right.
we can't do that for everything.
Yeah.
Facebook does have I can go in just like any other member and follow a post. And I tend to do that when posts are of a certain nature or, I've been doing this 7 or almost 8 years now, and I feel like I have a good pulse on what posts might take off in a positive or a negative way. So I try to keep tabs on those. As far as expanding, I hope we continue to grow on Facebook. I will never place ads. I will never really actively try to grow the group. We've always grown organically. People choose to join. They find out about it from a friend. Their friend adds them. I'm very comfortable with that. I don't want the group to double in a month. I feel like, people, when they come in, they kind of creep around a little bit and see kind of how the group operates. And then Show It Off weekend comes and they're like, what the heck is this? I thought there were no ads. And so it's good that the group grows slowly, because then people kind of figure out how the group works and what we're all about over time.
Right.
As far as expanding though, I have a dream to help support our business members. We have, as I mentioned, during Show It Off weekend, we have, many, many businesses post, and it's free. And it's a way, I know certain businesses have started. Other businesses have, grown because of their posts on 10, even, as limited as it is when in the whole grand scheme of things. But it's a huge sense of pride that I can help support a business literally by, clicking accept, or doing whatever it takes to help them post. I love supporting the other businesses on 10. And so they are all either, if they're posting on 10, they're either foreign run, which most of them are, or they're foreign friendly.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Japanese members who say lived overseas. And then they're returning Japanese expats. So we let them in the group too. Often they seek a more international community. So if they're running a very foreign friendly business, absolutely. I love that. And so I realize Show It Off weekends reach is very limited, and it's just one weekend a month. And so I've always had a dream to create this website that would help promote the businesses all the time. Anybody who lives in Japan knows a Google search sometimes yields results, but many times it doesn't.
Yeah.
So the dream would be that collaborating together, creating a database of all of these, a searchable database. A person might come to looking for, say, a carpet cleaner that speaks English that can help them. They've spilled wine in their house and they desperately need a carpet cleaner. And then they're going to see, oh my gosh, there's this restaurant that's down the street. I didn't realize it was owned by a foreigner, or, personal trainers, or physios, like just about any other industry, doctors, or whatever, jewelry makers. Like, we have so many different people in the group where you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. But now I have this database full of all these people that are like me and are looking for, something easy, a way to connect, and provide, a service. So I'm hoping that I can get my act together this summer and get this website up and running. It's kind of modeled after the original website that I created just by myself. But this time I feel like I need professional support to build this database that, businesses could place ads. We want to have some other good content there to bring people in. But then as a group, if we're advertising, if we can get the right listings in the Google search, then people will find, all of these different businesses at their fingertips.
Fantastic. That sounds like an amazing project, and yeah, all the best of luck with that. I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up there. Is there anything else that you think that people should know about the site, or yeah, I mean, if someone wasn't already a member, what would be your little plug as to why they should join?
Well, if they aren't a member, if you ever find like you just have a question you want to ask, or if you've ever, which I know you have, if you've ever been in Tokyo and been stumped by something and frustrated by something, join Tokyo Expat Network, answer the couple questions. You'll get in after, sometimes it's the same day, sometimes it's the next day. And we're there for you. Ask questions, be kind. I know COVID has been such a struggle for so many people, and you never know what someone's going through. And so I really just believe in the mission to be kind and be helpful. And if you don't have something nice to say, just keep it to yourself. I feel like those are basic things that we're taught as a kindergartner, and we forget it, and especially when we're online. So, my mission on 10 is to just, remind people to be kind. Remind people that there's a million different ways to say something. So if you have to say it nicely.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great way to close there. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Amanda. And yeah, as I said, all the best with the new site. And just on behalf of the Tokyo community, thank you for all the hard work that you've done with this site. And no, it's a fantastic resource for people. And it's almost like become, I guess, a sort of an institution, and it's great to actually talk to the creator and the founder and put a face to that massive project. So congratulations, thank you, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.